I'm Pat Friedrichsen, and I teach at the University of Missouri. I teach a large lecture undergraduate biology course for non-science majors. Because the course fulfills a general ed requirement, I try to focus on the nature of science and how scientists work. As part of the course, I want to keep the students' costs low, so I leave the textbook as optional and I use resources that are readily available, free on the web. I absolutely love the How Science Works website, and I introduce my students to it in the very first week of class. So the first day of class, I ask them to go home and read the science checklist. And then when they come back to class on the second day, we are using student response systems, clickers. And I said, okay, now you've looked and did a little reading about what science is. I have a question for you with the clickers. And so I pose the question, is astrology a science? And so the choices are A, definitely, B, definitely yes, B, definitely no, C, I don't know. And the student responses immediately show me and the entire class that less than half of my students say definitely not. So the majority of my students are saying yes, it is a science, or they're not sure. And from there, then we talk about horoscopes. And I say, well, we ought to be able to, if it is a scientific study, then we ought to be able to pick our horoscopes from yesterday, the first day of class. So I give all the students, and I have 430 students, a sheet of paper that has our horoscopes from the newspaper the day before. But I've removed any identifiers, and I've randomized them and put numbers on them. So I have the students look at the sheet, and they start to say, like, wait a minute, these are really vague. Wait a minute, it could be a couple of different ones. But I say, no, you ought to be able to pick the one from yesterday, because you've already lived that day. So I have the students take and identify one, and then using our student response system, I'll call on people who fall under a certain sign. For example, Gemini. And then I have all the Geminis stand up, and they click on which of the 12 horoscopes they selected, because I've numbered the horoscopes. And they see that they fall all across the 12 horoscopes. And so we pick another sign, and soon the students start to see that they cannot identify the horoscope for their sign from the day before. And so they come to the idea that these aren't that they can't really identify them. And so we talk about how, and then we go back to the checklist. So now I know what I need to say. so then we go back to the checklist and we talk about, is it based off the natural world? Does it try to explain the natural world? Is it a testable idea? And so we say, yes, it's a testable idea, but no, the data that we got doesn't support that these horoscopes can predict. Okay, so there's a piece I need to say before then.